Thomas Pion goes to the outside for the first corner, and Jin Ogre goes for the inside of it. And looks like Thomas actually loses a position here, but that's just the first corner of many. Everything can happen. Meanwhile, Sarah Ashen from 10th position takes up and actually ends up in 4th position, so she made up a lot of positions since the start. We might need a replay of that later on. But, like I mentioned, this track has a lot of different elevation changes, so it will not be mostly about who can make the most overtakes, but who can actually stay in that position. As Sarah goes to the outside and actually gets the job done, ends up in 3rd position. Meanwhile, Thomas Pure actually tries to have a look on the inside. That might work out, might not. Also behind Sarah, Michael Martin gets the job done and ends up in 4th position. That's a really good overtake attempt there. The cars are going down to this section, which is pretty hard. It's pretty dangerous. The lies do Baron de Mental, whatever it's pronounced as. I'm not good at French, so sorry about my pronunciation.
I'm coming up back to the first corner now.
Thomas has a look on the outside. Cannot get much out of that. Then he looks to the outside again on the next corner. Let's see what they can do here. The outside quickly turns into an inside, which then turns into an outside again. And alright.
Oh, Sarah goes wide. Can she keep out of the wall? Yes, she can.
A relatively safe re-entry. Meanwhile, Thomas actually gets the job done and gets back the first position.
On the second part of that curve, you can take quite a lot of the curve there.
Meanwhile, Sarah lost a lot of positions. Can she get them back? Goes to the inside with Thomas Lappy. Bjorn takes the downside in the area right now.
Oh, another big moment there from Sarah.
Yeah, that's another failure. Thankfully she can secure that position, but not really the position but the car. So that was a lucky save.
Because we haven't got that many very heavy braking zones, which means that as I say that, like, Sarah Asyan dives at the inside there. That's a great move. Keeps it, and it gets a good exit as well.
And not only one position, but 2 positions from it. She gets 2 positions from it.
Yeah, that was a bold move, but it paid off really nicely. Excellent overtake.
Yeah, like I tried to mention, this track has a lot of close corners. For example, here she goes for another move, and she gets it down. That's
and
another,
it pays off again.
Yeah, that's another position for her. But here it's quite.
See, that's the corner where she lost it
where
earlier
she spun out, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's where she spun out in the previous step. So like this track has a lot of technical corners, but the rest of it is just, I wouldn't say straight. I would say that there are sections, high-speed sections where you have to rely on slipstream a lot. Like you can see how close some of these cars are, and even though she's back into 4th, 5th position right now, you can see that she cannot gain much here. All she can do is stick to the outside and hope that she will have the inside for the next corner, which will pay out. Unfortunately, it's very hard to actually get that thing down, because even though if you have the inside for some of the corners, you will need to slow down for it.
And she makes another overtake there into the same corner that she did last time.
Yeah, it looks like that she can, like she found out a spot where she can gain positions. Oh, another bouncy
Ooh.
section there.
Yeah, that suspension setup is kind of rough.
Must be on. Currently sets the fastest lap, which is a 1:30.
I think that's going to be a big part of racing on this track is keeping those lines and consistent. Like these cars don't develop a huge amount of power, but the drivers are revving these all the way up to 7,500 RPM, really maximising the amount of power they can get out of the engines.
Yeah, and you saw it right before these few corners that Sarah
defending the
likes
inside
to
there.
go all the way. Oh, that's a
That's a rough one there.
that was a rough.
As we can see on the minimap there, closing the gap. Those two are kind of
Yeah, it's just been a contest between these two for the top position, yeah?
Oh,
yeah.
meanwhile Sarah messes up the first corner.
Oh!
Another understeer moment there from her. So that was a perfect example of understeer right there. The wheel was fully turned and the wheels were just not having it. The front wheel drive pushing wide. But she doesn't seem too phased.
Yeah.
Still pushing on.
If anything, Sarah has a very strong spirit that we saw in the first season. Goes to the inside and goes for a head-to-head, but let's see, she backs out of it. I guess she phased because of this corner, like this
Yeah,
downhill.
that corner's where she had the issues.
Yeah, like once you mess up in one section, you don't really want him to push it too hard in that section there. I guess.
Especially when the next lap you come around and you have a close call with it again.
Yeah. But she doesn't seem to be phased out of that first corner where she actually went off track.
Yeah, in that first corner, I don't think you can really afford to be afraid of that corner because if someone overtakes you there, it's kind of hard to get the position back in the upcoming series of tight corners.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck on the outside there, like as you're coming downhill. If you get overtaken, and it's a tough one to come back from.
Definitely not a position you want to be in.
The switching between perspectives. Thomas Bjorn extends the lead to 4 seconds now. That's a huge gap. Currently we are watching Sarah, who is now, despite what happened to her, still in 4th position. But again, the gap is the big question here. Can she catch up to the first 3 now? That's the big question. And if she can catch up, can she end up on podium? Thomas Bjorn currently has 10 seconds of lead compared to Sarah.
Oh gosh.
That's a lot of time to make up. She's been really pushing that little car. But at the moment it's all about not making mistakes. Just trying to get as much good lap times in as possible now. And she can't afford to make mistakes.
But speaking of pushing hard, she actually managed to catch up to 3rd position, and it looks like that she might be able to have a fight here. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind is that once you start fighting with someone else, you have the potential to lose pace. So
yeah, exactly.
If you fight, you have the chance to slow down. And if you slow down way too much, then you can lose his position. That's something that Sarah do not want here, as she goes for the outside for the restaurant section.
All the way around the outside. Can she get on the inside?
She does,
gets the
but
position in there, but doesn't manage to carry the speed.
Goes to the outside, goes way too wide.
Oh.
Can she get it done? Not really. She backs out, slows down for the downhill section, and with that she loses pace.
Almost a massive loss for her though, going off the track there.
Yeah, now with this little mistake, she's around 1 second behind Nicola Spadella. but that can all change if she gets this first corner right, which looks like the case is. Now from here on out until the hairpins, it's gonna be a slipstream fight. Can she stick this? Can she stick to Nicholas? Can she gain from this section without making a failure?
She looks like she's overall quicker, but she just hasn't managed to find that one important passing point.
Now that can change
Another
here.
favourite point. Dives up the inside. And she's managed to get it done. That was a great move there from Sarah.
Thomas Bjorn has about 6 seconds of lead compared to the second position. He is so far ahead that on our data timer or whatever it's called, cars from the back of the grid actually showing up. In mind, Thomas Bjorn has about 7 seconds of lead.
Yeah, we can actually see it there. Right as he's coming at the top of the straight there, coming across the finish line.
Yeah.
Michael Martin is in second position and Saracen is third. And yeah, I was somewhat right. Sorry about the letdown, everyone. But looks like Thomas Bjorn wins this race. Michael Martin ends up second, Saracen third, Nicolas Padilla in fourth position, Pessi Sora in fifth.